Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are having a great Sunday so far. As you can see, I'm starting to need a quarantine haircut because my hair just keeps getting worse and worse. I was thinking maybe I'll have Pastor Luke cut it if it really needs to get there, and hopefully he doesn't do a bad job. But we'll see about that. Today we're going to be talking about the gospel, as we always do. But today we're going to be looking at the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 16. Romans was a book written by Paul, whose name was Saul, and then God changed it. He was a persecutor of Christians, and then he became one of the best evangelists, which means people who share the gospel, ever to live, especially during Bible times. Let's read Romans 1, verse 16. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes, for the Jew first and also to the Greek or the Gentile, depending on what translation you have. Who is this message from? The message is simply from God. It says right there, for I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God. Let's say we have a message from the president, okay? We have this message and we're supposed to deliver it to our parents, okay? We have to deliver it to our parents and it has to be super fast. We have to interrupt whatever they're doing, but they're in an important business meeting. Are we going to be ashamed and worried that we're going to interrupt that business meeting to give them this message from the president? No, most of the time not. If it's something as important as that, then we're not going to be ashamed or scared to share that message. Then why are a lot of Christians ashamed and scared to share the gospel? Because the gospel comes from someone even more important than the president, and it comes from God. So we know where our message comes from, then why are we ashamed? Second, it is the power of God. It says again, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God. The gospel has the power to change lives. And we see that all over. I'll take one example. It's from Paul, who wrote the book of Romans. Like we just stated, he was a persecutor of Christians, which means he killed Christians on the regular. And he didn't just kill them, he hunted them down and found them and killed them. And God changed his life. He completely reversed the whole entire course of Paul's life and became the most on fire and passionate gospel-believing Christian, and he went and shared the gospel everywhere. That is what the power of the gospel can do. Let's read again. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation. Now, it's the power of God to salvation, right? What is salvation? Salvation basically just means to be delivered. This deliverance that God gives us means the gospel delivers us from the power of sin and the penalty of sin. And we know from a later chapter in Romans that the penalty of sin, or the payment of sin, is death. Spiritual death, which means the spiritual separation from God. And the gospel gives us the power to overcome that. But we didn't do anything for it. Christ gave up himself so that we could be saved through him. He is the gospel. Let's read again. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation for everyone who believes, for first the Jew and also to the Gentile. And there's a quick thing I like there. It says, for everyone who believes. All people need to be saved. It's as simple as that. All people need to be saved. But God does not ask us to behave a certain way to be saved. He only asks us to believe. It's nothing that we can do to earn salvation. Nothing. No good works, not anything. But Christ did it for us. He died on the cross for us and gave us as a gift. All he said is, to accept this gift, you have to put your faith in me. I did everything for you. Now just put your faith in me. Now, I have 2 questions to leave you guys with today. Has your life been changed by the gospel? Honestly, look at your life. Has it been changed by the gospel? Do you think if you believed when you were really little that your life would be completely different now that you have the gospel? Or do you think it would be the same? And for those of you who know that you have been changed by the gospel, are you ashamed of the gospel? Are you ashamed to share the gospel?